Have you ever been part of a team with a brilliant strategic plan that just, well, fizzled out? It's a super common problem. You see, having a great vision is one thing, but actually turning it into real results, that's a whole different ballgame. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. We're going to open up a powerful toolkit from the ISO 10009 standard, designed specifically to help quality professionals like you bridge that frustrating gap between a great idea and real-world action. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into why that strategy to action gap even exists. Then, we're going to explore 3 amazing tools to close it. Kaizen for that constant everyday improvement, Hoshin Kanri for getting everyone pointed in the same direction, and MBO, or Management by Objectives, for super clear goals. Then, we'll wrap it all up by figuring out how you can pick the perfect tool for whatever challenge you're facing. All right, first up, the strategy to action gap. You know what this is. It's that space where all those ambitious plans and big ideas meet the messy, complicated reality of the day-to-day. And a lot of the time, reality wins. This gap, right here, is probably the #1 reason why so many great strategies just fail to deliver. So that brings us to the big question, right? How do you take a brilliant strategy and make it actually happen? The secret isn't some kind of magic wand. It's all about having a system, a structured approach. And that is exactly what these tools are for. Okay, let's jump into our first tool. This one tackles the problem from the ground up. It's called Kaizen. Now, this is all about the philosophy of continual improvement. It's built on this really powerful idea that tiny, consistent, positive changes can add up to create a massive impact over time. What's so cool about Kaizen is that it isn't some order that comes from the top. No, it empowers everyone, from the CEO all the way to the newest person on the front line, to look for ways to make things better. I mean, think about a manufacturing floor. An employee suggests a smarter way to organize a toolbox, and it saves maybe 10 seconds per task. It sounds tiny, right? But you multiply that by thousands of tasks a year, and bam, you've just created a huge gain in efficiency. That's Kaizen. So how does it actually work in practice? Well, it's driven by this simple but really effective engine called the SDCA cycle. First, you standardize whatever the current best process is. Then you do it, and you gather data. Next, you check those results against your goals. And finally, you act on what you learned to make an improvement, which then becomes the new standard. It's a loop. And the source material says that just by applying this cycle systematically, you can often see an initial 15% improvement right out of the gate. So here's the bottom line with Kaizen. This is not a one-and-done project. It has to be a total cultural shift. Yeah, the benefits are huge. Better standardization, less waste, lower costs, you name it. But you only get there when improvement becomes an ongoing, everyday process, where any employee feels empowered to suggest a change at any time. Okay, tool number 2 is Hoshin Kanri. So if Kaizen is all about improving the path you're on from the ground up, think of Hoshin Kanri as the compass. It's the tool that makes sure everyone in the entire company is walking in the exact same direction, guided from the top down. It literally translates to compass management, and that's a perfect name for it. Hoshin Kanri is the method an organization uses to take its giant, multi-year vision and break it down into concrete, achievable objectives. It's the bridge that connects that big picture mission to the daily work people are doing, and you track it all with KPIs, those specific metrics that tell you if you're on course or not. And this is where you really see its superpower. It's a top-down approach, but it's designed to create incredible alignment across the whole organization. The 3 to 5 year strategy from leadership gets directly linked to a department's annual goals, which then connects to what each team member is focused on every single day. Everybody can see exactly how their work fits into the bigger picture. This whole process is often visualized using a really neat tool called the X Matrix. Seriously, imagine your entire strategic plan on one single page. In one corner, you've got your long-term vision. Connected to that, you've got your annual objectives. Flowing from those are the top priorities for your teams. And then finally, you have the specific metrics you'll use to measure success. It's a complete roadmap on one sheet of paper. But, and this is a big but, it requires absolute, unwavering commitment from top management. Without that, it's just another document that's going to gather dust on a shelf. And there's another risk. If you're not careful, it can become so rigid that it actually stifles the innovation it's supposed to help. So the key is to use it as a guide, not a straitjacket. All right, our third tool is one you've probably heard of, but it's often misunderstood or misapplied. It's Management by Objectives, or MBO. And this one is all about driving results by giving everyone total crystal clarity on their goals. So MBO is a formal process where managers and their employees actually work together to set clear, agreed-upon objectives. When you do this right, that simple act can energize an entire organization. For example, a vague company goal like increase market share becomes a really specific marketing objective like launch 3 new product campaigns and generate 1,000 qualified leads by the end of Q4. See? It's actionable.
And the classic framework for creating these powerful objectives is, of course, the SMART acronym. The goal has to be specific because do better isn't a real goal. It has to be measurable so you actually know when you've hit it. It needs to be attainable, challenging but not a fantasy. It must be relevant to the bigger business strategy. And finally, it has to be time-bound with a clear deadline to create urgency.
Now listen up, because here's a distinction from the ISO standard that is absolutely crucial, and it's a spot where a ton of teams get tripped up. An objective is not a KPI. An objective is the outcome you want, like improve customer onboarding satisfaction. The KPI is the metric you use to measure it, like increase our net promoter score from 40 to 55. They work together, but they are not the same thing. The benefits here are pretty obvious. You get a direct link to business results and a real sense of empowerment for your people. But the source adds a really important warning. Objectives should not be achieved at any cost. They have to be pursued within the company's normal ethical rules and operating standards. Okay, so we've unpacked 3 powerful tools. But that brings up the obvious question, which one should you use? The answer is, it's not a competition. You should think of these as a specialized toolkit. Your job is to match the right method to the mission at hand. This table lays it out perfectly. If you need to optimize an existing process from the ground up, making it better and more efficient, Kaizen is your go-to. If you need to get the entire company aligned behind a big strategic push, you'll want Hoshin Kanri. And if you're focused on managing individual and team performance with clear targets, MBO is perfect for that. So the key is to step back and ask yourself, what problem am I really trying to solve right now? Is it a nagging process issue on the factory floor? Then start with Kaizen. Is it about making sure every single department is rowing in the same direction towards that 5-year vision? That's a job for Hoshin Kanri. Or is it about giving your sales team crystal clear, measurable targets for the next quarter? That is a classic case for MBO. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. Take a second and think about your own organization, your own team. What's the biggest gap you see between your plans and your results? Now that you have this toolkit, which tool best fits that specific challenge?